up, everybody? Welcome to Dharma Time here on WPSN99.com. And actually, the person who I got that from, I'm very excited he is joining us today. So first and foremost, let me go ahead and bring on the Dope Doctor. What's up? How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing fantastic, brother.
Right on. And then let me go ahead and I'm going to make sure I put him between us because he needs to be between us. What's up,
Yeah.
Mr. Brett Schulman?
Thank you
Or
so much for having me to here today, Louis and Trinity. It's an honor.
Wow,
What's up,
he's
brother?
very calm. I like that. So, just so
Yeah.
everybody understands, whenever we've had our numerous shows and we've talked about and mentioned ad nauseum somebody named Brett TV,
That's
this
it.
is who we're referring to. This is Mr. Brett
Brett
Schulman,
TV.
aka Brett TV, the man with the plan. Probably the best hype man I've ever met in person. He is the white version of Flava Flav. We own
Yo.
him. He is ours. He is our guy, man. Thankful to have him on today. Um, First and foremost, just so everybody knows, as always, we could do this the way we do it because of the Now Matters More Foundation, of which he is the founder. I'm the president. You can check out who we are at nowmattersmore.org. You can also hit that little donate button. You can fill out an application. You can do all sorts of fun stuff on there. And then if you need help with the disease of addiction in person, you can call 833 Now Matters. That's
Right.
833 Now Matters, and we will help you. Um,
Right. And
and we
he's a
have
one-take Jake too, man. What I was saying, Trinity, when the
yeah.
intro was going on, but you couldn't hear me, was you should play what he did for the Hope-a-thon, just to give everybody an idea
Oh,
of the man's skills.
yeah,
You should
yeah.
play one of those videos.
I have to see if I can download it on time because I don't have it on my computer right now.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, he. So, a quick background, like well, first and foremost, today's show on Dharma Time is about positivity, and I thought about having this show because, um, as he was just mentioning, Brett came by the house a couple weeks ago to shoot some stuff for our upcoming event. It was an event that we had scheduled for September 26th. We had to reschedule it because we got so much good quality content that there wasn't enough time for the TV studio to kind of work it out and get it done in a fashion that would show respect to all the effort that everybody put into it. So it has now been rescheduled for November 14th. So continue to pay to watch us, and we'll put forth more information about that. But so he came by the house to shoot a few things as only he can, and I've known him now for a few years, and we were talking, and I've always known him to be probably the most positive, most hyped, energetic person I've ever met. Which is kind of embarrassing sometimes because he's older than I am, but he's got way more energy than I've ever had. And so it's kind of embarrassing because it's like, what am I doing wrong in my life that this dude is running circles around me? But um, so I came by the house, and he's gone through some very interesting some things, life events in the last year or two, and through that he's managed to stay who he is, and I just think that's remarkable. And so I wanted to have him on to talk about it because I think, especially in today's age, there's so many things happening to so many people, right? We have the obvious with COVID and all the things that are attached to that, both with the health as well as jobs and everything. I mean, it's a crazy time. And then you have all the political things happening and people disagreeing and the race issues and just so many things are happening. And then in addition to that, life itself still continues to happen. I mean, you still have, there's accidents and tragedies that take place. There's medical, emergencies that happen in addition to all those things. And it's been brought to my attention that there's a lot of people out there who are just having a hard time. They're struggling on how to stay positive with all this doom and gloom around them at times. And it doesn't help that every time you turn on the TV, somebody's on there telling you to be scared of something and to freak out or whatever. If you look on your social media news feed, you probably see a lot of that as well. Um, and I struggle with it myself, and Louis has as well, right? Like we've had to like be very aware of what we're taking in to where it doesn't affect us. But there's just one person that I consistently talk to who's just always just upbeat and positive, and that's going to be Brett here. And so I want to have him on to talk a little bit about who he is and his story, and kind of he's got a really good message to deliver, and I figured we would give him a platform to do so. So, Louis, you got anything to add to that about who Mr. Brett TV is?
Here's what I would add. I am so grateful to have met you, Brett, because you are one of those individuals who just have this tremendous amount of energy. And typically, I would say that if you would have just described that to me, Trinity, I probably would have stayed away just because the way you would have to describe Brett until you meet Brett, until you know Brett, and you go like, wait a minute, that none of what was just said was negative, and that showed me what a preconceived notion I had about that kind of positivity or that kind of energy. But then you meet somebody like this, and Brett, you were just the most. I would add the word loving on top of that.
Yeah, I would too.
Really good dude, a friend, and a loving person, and I am so grateful to be able to call you a friend, Brett. And there's no reason to kiss your ass. I'm saying this out of true honesty. I just love your energy, and I love you around, and I'm very appreciative of you, man. So I'm glad that regardless of the challenges that you went through this past year, you always showed strength, you showed positivity, and you didn't let it get you down, and that's what we need right now. We can't be afraid. We got to be strong. We got to stand up. We got to fight whatever challenges come our way, and I love the way you did it.
Why, thank you. I just wanted to say it's a great day to be here. And no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I would second all that, man. I'll be honest.
No, you sound like Elmo all of a sudden. I was looking at the thing. You kind of look like Elmo, but you big heads. You look like Elmo is falling back and just sitting.
I had to throw that out there. I had to, first of all, I just want to tell everybody I love Trinity and I love Louis and I love the Now Matters More.org Foundation. You guys are the epitome of positivity. I love you guys with all my heart. I've always enjoyed being around you guys. You just make everything better. You're absolutely amazing. And Trinity, I have to use him once in a while to be a bodyguard, but hey, that's just the way it goes.
Me too.
Anyway, I'm really grateful to know you guys. I really consider both of you very good friends. I will never forget in my entire life when all three of us went to Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And that, to me, honestly, that was the time of my life. I had so much fun with you guys, with the World of Westgate and the Now Matters More.org. And I still watch Forrester to this day, the Truck Series. So I see him on Saturdays.
Look.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, that's what's his name? Daryl.
I'm always rooting him on.
Weatherman.
I'm
Kyle
always
Weatherman.
rooting him on.
Oh, I got Kyle Weatherman shirt on?
Yeah, that's Kyle Weatherman, 78.
But funny story is, I actually thought this broadcast was tomorrow. So I'm out here riding my bike today, 31 miles. I'm halfway there, getting ready, and I get a text from Trinity. You ready? What? What do you mean you ready? I said,
that's ridiculous.
So I put it in afterburners, and I knocked out 10 miles in about 30 minutes. I had to because I didn't have a choice. Well, I didn't have a choice. So
that is insane, by the way.
When Trinity told me that he spoke to you, he said, but you said maybe you'll be home. I said, oh, he'll be home. I said, but he's probably far away. He's probably got to ride like 10 miles, but he's going to be going.
Yeah.
31 miles, though, Brett. 31 miles?
Yeah. Now,
that's insane.
The thing is I used to do that 3 to 4 times a week when I was that's part of my story that led to where I am today.
Okay.
So if you want me to get into the story, I'll be more than glad to share it with you.
Well, let's talk a little bit about who you are, right? Because I know I don't even know some of the story.
Okay.
Like I do know that you used to be a LEO, right? Law enforcement officer.
Yes.
Okay.
I was Orange County deputy with Kevin Barry, who is still to this day a great friend, and also Jerry Demings. And I was a police officer serving Orange County in Sector 33 from I hate to say this, really. This is the Barney Fife days. This is when we had the 38s. It was ready, 1985.
Oh wow.
Oh.
1985 to 1988.
Wow. Okay.
I was an Orange County deputy.
Yeah, I didn't like you guys back then. Those are the years riding my job.
Yeah, it was crazy days. It was the days of a lot of sort of like today, a lot of animosity and a lot of craziness going on. It really didn't change from that time versus now. It's still basically the same.
Now, you're not from Florida originally, though, right? Like, aren't you from
yes,
North?
Nope.
No, you're from Florida originally.
From New York. As a lot of people would think, I am not from New York. I was born in Jacksonville, Florida.
Wow.
And I am a
That's
carbon-based unit, so that's good.
Interesting. I did not know that.
Well,
And
yeah.
then
Yes.
when we met you, weren't you just freshly out of like working for Westgate or something? Weren't you there for
Yes,
a while as
I
well?
actually, David Siegel, who has always been my mentor, I've always enjoyed his speeches, his talks. I actually bought one of his homes when I was working for Westgate, one of the smaller ones, of course.
I was going to say, I
Uh,
can't even afford his doghouse, much less his
no,
home.
no, 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 no. No, he had a, well, once he and Betty split up, he moved into a home in Windermere, which was very nice. It was like a 2,500 square foot home. And at the time, he actually met Jackie, and that's actually where I met Jackie for the very first time. Real quick story. Real quick story.
Yeah, very
Uh,
cool.
I, I bought the house while I was a manager at Westgate, working for David. I went upstairs to clean out the attic, and I found a painting of David's that was worth millions.
Wow.
What?
That's a true story. He'll tell you about
Wow.
it, but that's very true. So I called him one day, and I said, David, are you missing something? He goes, no. I go, yes, you are. So he goes, what am I missing? I said, you're missing a painting in a protective 8-lock case. He goes, OMG. I
Wow.
said, I'll bring it to you right now. And that was the very first time I met Jackie when they were working out together at Westgate Lakes at the gym. And I said, I think this belongs to you. And David was unbelievable. David gave me floor seats. Now, this is back in the day. This is 1999 or 2000 when the Magic were really hot.
Oh,
The
we had
Orlando
Shaq.
Magic were.
Yeah.
Well, he gave me floor seats
Wow.
for the whole
Very cool.
season.
Well, you gave him $1 million.
Yeah, right.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
ever since then, from that moment on, now we were still, because he was my boss, everything was
Yeah.
cool. But from that moment on, they're like family. It's amazing.
That's awesome. That is
Very
really
cool. And
awesome.
you have one more before we get into the personal story. You have one more claim to fame, don't you? Wasn't there a particular truck that you were driving around for a while that got a lot of attention?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that I will tell you about that. That
And I,
that
and I bring
is
that up just so our viewers know. I bring it up not for political reasons. I bring it up just
right.
because I'm just trying to illustrate how Brett is everywhere with everybody all the time.
Right. Right.
So go ahead,
Well,
man.
that that was the highlight of my life. That was. And the story goes just like this. I was part of an offshore racing team, and it was called Instigator. And Instigator was a world championship offshore racing team, 7-time offshore world champ. They don't even race anymore because they sold the boat, and it's another name. It's called Knucklehead. But anyway, at the time, we had a group of individuals that loved President Trump. And what had happened was one of the guys on the team had access to what I call a monster truck.
Yes,
It
that thing was
is.
massive.
It was massive. It is a 18,000-pound CXT International 6-door with a dumper and everything, valued at around $250,000. Well, anyway, I had talked, this is the funny part. I had talked, salesman, right? I had talked the owner of the racing team into doing a primetime show, which is still on, as a matter of fact, right now on Amazon Prime, called Fireball Run Anniversary Special Season 10. And they wanted to hire or get characters on this show to be part of this TV show, a reality show, if you will. And he goes, man, that looks like fun. I said, yeah, well, there's the catch. I said, we need this truck. And I said, but we need it to be on the show because that's part of the show because they have all these crazy cars. I mean, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, just everything you'd always dream of if you're a car guy. So he goes, okay, I'll fork up the money. And he did. And we got the truck. And he actually got it from another guy. But the funny thing is, the guy said, just keep it until I ask you for it. And he goes, okay, Brett, it's in, your insurance is in your name, blah, 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 blah. I said, good. Now we need to get it wrapped. Guess what? That was another $10,000 just to get it wrapped. Now, if you want to see it, just go on Facebook to Huge Trump Truck. Okay? So here's what happened. I got the truck, and my really good friend of mine calls me and says, hey, I just got a call from the Secret Service. I need you to take the truck. Now, this is unfortunately right after the Pulse shooting. He says, I need you to take the truck and go meet President Trump. Really? Oh, guess what? I took the truck down to the police. It's a police legions center on Orange Avenue. And I pull in. Secret Service is everywhere. Now, they had already vetted me, researched records, approved me, blah, blah, blah. Before I got there, they did it in like 15 minutes. So I get there, and here's the funny part. I pull in. They go, we need the keys. I say, sure, take the keys. So they pulled the truck over even before I got onto the property, and a dog jumps up. This is so impressive. He jumped up about 8 feet. It was amazing. Jumped up about 8 feet onto the seats, went inside the entire truck, every square inch, sniffed it, blah, blah, blah. Pulls out, he goes, okay, you're good. Then they take the truck, they line it up to the back door because there was an apartment complex facing the other side, and they line it up so that it's actually protecting that door. You understand what I'm saying? Perpendicular?
Yeah.
Okay, so they line it up, and they go, okay, go in there and have a seat. So I'm videotaping. He wasn't the president yet, but he was President-elect Trump. This is in 2016, and here comes President Trump and in the entourage, everybody, and they come in, and I'm videotaping, and I have the video if you ever want to see it, because I kept it, of course. And they come in, and the first thing President-elect Trump says is, whose truck is that? And I said, mine, sir. He goes, I want the keys. I want to take it for a drive. So that was funny. Everybody thought it was great. We were in with all the Orlando police officers who had just been incredible and protected everybody. And, of course, one of the guys was there. He's the one that got shot in the helmet. Remember that?
Oh, wow.
The OPD officer that got shot in the helmet with the bullet. But anyway, so that was incredible. At the very end, I took an incredible picture with now President Trump right next to the truck. He says, give me the keys. I'm going to play a joke on Secret Service. So he takes the keys, and he starts to get in the truck and leave. And the Secret Service goes, no, sir, you can't do that. He goes, we have to go to an event in Kissimmee. He says, okay, I was just kidding. So, and that was it. So that was a lot of fun.
Right
from there, President Trump sponsored the entire truck. The rest of it, wrote a check and everything for all the remaining stuff for the entire Fireball run. So if you look at it, if you go and look at the pictures, you're going to see President Trump's face in the driver's seat. It's amazing. So he donated everything. He was amazing. So anyway, if you want to see the show, you want to laugh, you want to have a good time, go to Amazon Prime, go to Fireball Run Anniversary Special. It's probably, I think it's 14 episodes. It's history. It's amazing. It was fun. It was the time of my life.
Very cool, man.
And it's 18,000 pounds.
Yeah, it's such a massive truck, man. But I think
and
that's...
I just want to say one more thing.
Yeah.
The greatest thing was I get to keep the truck for a year.
Oh, wow. That is pretty
I
cool.
did not give it back till December 23rd of that same year.
That's awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah, so I mean, to me, that's just a perfect story that shows how just being in your orbit, things just start to happen, right? And hearing that, it's not that hard to imagine you being a positive, upbeat person, right? Because everybody's obviously got their own political stances, but for you personally, that's somebody you support who showed up and you had a great time with, and that's awesome. Um, so now getting into the story of why we're having you on here today. Um, you also had some things that are not so positive take place. So I'll give you a chance to go ahead and talk about the story of where it all kind of started happening to take a different turn for you.
Okay. Uh, it all started basically last year. I was so excited about doing a bike-a-thon for a charity event. And it was a 100-mile bike-a-thon to raise money.
100 miles. Oh my
And
God.
100, yep. And I was
I
getting
passed
in
that
shape.
truck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It, I was getting in shape, and I was riding my bike probably, I would say, oh, geez. I started off at 60 miles, then I got to 90 miles, then I got to 120 miles, then I got to 150 miles within a week. And then I shortened it, and then I shortened it, and then I shortened it. The problem is I didn't drink enough water. I didn't drink enough Gatorade. I didn't drink enough liquids. And that just tells you that your body needs nourishment. You know that as a bodybuilder, Louis.
Sure.
Just kidding, Trinity. uh, and what had happened is in May of 2019, I went to go get something to eat in Orlando, and it was in the evening, and I stupidly did not eat any part during that day because I was exercising, and I just did 60 miles on my bike. So I go to the restaurant, I'm getting something to eat, and I thought I was okay. And then all of a sudden, as I'm walking to my car, I started getting lightheaded. I'm thinking, okay, that's not good. I'm seeing little stars. So I sat down. I had a little drink of iced tea. I'm drinking the iced tea. I saw, I feel better. Okay. Well, being me, I'm getting the car, start on my way. Now, keep in mind, I'm only 5 minutes from the house. I get in my car, and uncontrollably, I passed out and had a heart attack.
Oh.
And I hit a palm tree. And I'm actually happy I hit the palm tree because I could have went in the lake. I could have hit somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
I could have just done anything else except for just hitting the tree. But thank goodness it was a one-car accident. I hit the tree they said I was doing, this is the crazy part, 68 miles an hour. So somehow I must have put my foot on the gas, and I hit the pedal, and I hit the tree, and I broke 7 ribs.
Oh.
And obviously I was in the hospital, blah, blah, blah. But it's a blessing. And the reason why it's a blessing is because that was the start of the entire process of finding out during all the testing what's going on with my body. And it all came down to a PSA. And a PSA basically is your count, your internal count of your numbers of your prostate. Okay? So when I was in the hospital, they had noticed that my PSA was going up. And I said, I guess, okay. They said, well, let's just keep an eye on it, go home, and we're going to check it in 90 days. So I came back 90 days from there, and it had only gone up just a little bit. They said, it's okay, but let's check it in another 90 days. Well, in another 90 days, it went up another 2 points, and that's not good. So this is, I'll never forget this. This is December 2nd. I go back over to the urologist, And at the time, my own doctor was not there, and it was another uh, female urologist. And they had done the test, and they go, Mr. Schulman, you need to go get an MRI. I said, why is that? She goes, because your numbers went up again, another 3 points. And I go, oh, that's not good. She goes, I hope this isn't a bad sign, but I think you need to go get checked for cancer. So I was devastated. And my wife looked at me and I looked at her, and he says, let's just get it done. So I went and I had an MRI. And when I had the MRI, it for some reason, it only showed a portion of the problem. And then I went back to the doctor in January, and they go, no, now you need to get a coloscopy. Not a coloscopy. What is that when they...
A colonoscopy.
Yeah. Yes, thank you so much. Well, that was the big deal. That was the big deal. Because when I did that, that's when they showed that I had full-blown cancer. So, at the time, my doctor walks in. He goes, I don't handle this, Dr. Kauser, but it just so happens that my best friend does. And I said, well, what's his name? Dr. Javier Miller Jr. And he goes, he is one of the best surgeons, robotic surgeons, in the United States. And he just happens to be right here in Orlando. I go, well, when can I ever get an appointment? He goes, in about 3 minutes. I went, what? He goes, yeah, you caught him at a perfect time. He's actually here at the office. So he goes and gets him. He walks in, and I had a Gator shirt on. He goes, how about them Gators? And he goes, I graduated from there too. He goes, no way, that's really cool. He goes, now, let's talk serious for a minute. You have full-blown cancer. He goes, I'm going to give you 3 different choices. And I go, what are the choices? He goes, you can have chemo, you can do the radiation, you can do the bathtub, or you can do the robotic prostate surgery. But if you do that, you have to have very good insurance because it's extremely expensive to have that done. And, you know, my wife works at Lockheed Martin. I'm very fortunate. We have phenomenal insurance. And I didn't even hesitate. And that was my wife will laugh as it today. She goes, you didn't even say anything. Just, okay, let's do it. He goes, what do you want to do? He goes, because I got to know right now. He goes, I didn't even hesitate. I said, I want to have the robotic prostate surgery. He goes, wow, that was quick. He goes, well, it's all or nothing. And the reason why is because from the time that I thought I had it to the time that I knew I had it, I had done research and found out that some of my friends went through the chemo and then it came back. And I don't want to do that.
So, well, let's talk about the surgery for a second, real quick, before let me pause you there.
Yeah.
To my knowledge, is somewhat limited on it, and this is to me where I think the positive thinking starts to come into play. It's my understanding that the surgery for the prostate cancer can sometimes turn very, very bad for people, right? As far as what happens afterwards.
Yes.
Can you talk just a second about how did you decide for yourself that you were going to take that risk immediately?
Well, number one, I held my wife's hand and I said, honey, it's all or nothing. And the doctor looked at me. He goes, you know, there's a percentage. If, you know, there's one little mistake, it's not good. He goes, we could make a mistake, hit a nerve, and you won't be here anymore. He goes, and there's no way to stop it because of this and this and this and this.
Right.
And I said, you know what? I've had a great life. I said, if it wasn't for Louis and Trinity, you know, things would be. No, I'm just kidding. I said this. I said, I've had a great life. If I make it, which I really know I will because I'm a very, 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 very lucky person. I'm very fortunate. I'm very lucky. I don't know why. I can't tell you why, but I am. I said, I have God on my side. So I'm going to do it this way. And I was positive. I signed the little uh, register thing saying that I accept it. And I went on. And from that moment on, I put my life, in God's hands. And I put my life in the doctor's hands, knowing that he's going to do a phenomenal job. And Dr. Miller, and to this day, I call him Mr. Perfect
Wow.
or Dr.
And
Perfect.
so, um, and obviously, just for so everybody's listening, the surgery was a success. You're now cancer free, right?
100%. Yeah, 100% cancer free.
And that's awesome to hear, man. I'm very, very happy for you for that one.
Yeah.
And Louis and I actually know another individual who is going through their own cancer battles. Gone through several of them actually since we've known this person.
Right.
And they too kind of have a similar outlook that you do, and that's what I want to talk about today, right? Because I don't even know personally how I would respond to those types of things. Um, but one of the things I talk a lot about on the show is perspective, right? Meaning the same exact thing can happen to two different people, and there's
Hmm.
two different ways you can handle it, right? You can take it and you can be justifiably upset, justifiably depressed, justifiably, angry, and just kind of like, why is this happening to me? Blah blah blah. But the exact same scenario can happen to somebody else who takes it and has a positive
Yep.
outlook, focuses on the good, and really pushes through. How did you make that decision? Like, how did you stay positive with such a traumatic thing happening?
Well, I looked at it as it's a bump in the road. And I looked at the statistics and I looked at myself. And I knew that my entire life I've always been positive. I've always been energetic. And I said, I'm not going to let this get me down. I said, if for some reason, if God wants me, then it's my time. And I've enjoyed my life. I've done the things that I've wanted to do. And I've been with the people that I've wanted to be with. And I know that I can get through this. And I will say one thing about the surgery: it was not easy afterwards.
Oh, I bet not.
the The recovery process for that surgery is it's a 10. It's ridiculous, but it's worth it because I just got off the road running 31 miles on my bike,
That's crazy.
and
I, I can't even believe that, to be honest
and
with you.
and I and I do 40 push-ups every day, and I do 50 sit-ups every day after I get my green light. And I, I'm so excited to be a positive, energetic, and I'm actually a sensitive person too, whether you know it or not. But I'm always out there rooting for the little guy.
Right.
And at the time, I thought, well, you know what? I'm the little guy now. So now I got to put all of my thought processes, and I got to think positive, and I have to be the best person that I can think of being, and I have to share my story to other people. And to this day, I've shared my story to my friends who have had the same situation probably 10 times now, and three of my friends have used Dr. Javier Miller. His telephone number is no, I'm just anyway. Uh, and they went to go see him, and they're happy that they did. And I talked them into using this process after having good insurance. Now, does the money matter? No, but the surgery and everything and the whole process, baby, I'm the $1 million man. It was 1,175,000 was the total
Wow.
price for the surgery, the recovery, and everything. Thank goodness we only had to come up with $12,000, and well
Wow.
worth it.
That's
Wow.
crazy.
Well worth every penny
I
because I'm
bet.
Wow.
here.
Real quick before we move on, I was telling you at the beginning of the show, there was a gentleman who I knew that did all those ultra marathons and the crazy bikes. He commented
Right.
on it. I'm not sure if he's still watching, but Simon, We were talking about you earlier. He said his comment was the long bike rides get addictive. This is a
Told
dude
you.
that he would.
It's the crack.
This is the dude that would do the ultra marathons of like 50 plus miles. Then he got into biking
Right.
and was biking hundreds of miles. Like it's insane.
Right.
But anyways, I digress. So, um, you said something earlier about being positive and you don't know why you've been lucky and things of that nature. I'm going to say from a spiritual perspective, like we talk about on the show, I don't think it's a coincidence though. I think that when you approach life with a positive perspective, when you try to focus on what you do have and focus on moving forward and focus on being the best you that you can be, I think that inadvertently leads to just good positive things happening in your life. Because at the end of the day, everything is positive or negative. It's just a matter of perspective. And so if
Right.
you choose to have a perspective of positivity, then everything's going to look positive. For instance, you just mentioned earlier the car crash, right? Instead of talking about a car crash in such a horrible way of like I totaled my car, I broke all my ribs, it sucked. No, instead you
Yeah.
say it led me to find out this. So it was so even in that instance, you found a way to look at it in a positive light. And I think that that's kind of what I want. The message I want to get across today is it doesn't matter what's happening in your life. It doesn't matter what's happening in the world around us. You are still in control in how you perceive it and how you respond to
Hmm.
what's happening. And you can choose
That's
to
right.
make everything around you crumble, or you can choose to find, a solution somewhere in the midst of all that. And I
That's
just want to
right.
say,
And
from as a friend, and then just even as a man, I, I'm impressed, bro. Because we've had this.
well,
You were in my living room when we were talking, and I don't know how I would have responded being told that news, and I can only hope that it never happens. But if it does happen, I can only hope I respond the same way you have.
well, you can either lie there and feel sorry for yourself and stick your head in a hole, or you can become positive and you could do the things that you need to do to stay positive, and you need to rise up and be a voice. Be a
Yeah.
voice.
During that same time, if I'm not mistaken, there was a female, Sherry, that
Oh
was very
yeah.
close to you, and
Yeah,
a lot.
Cherie.
Yeah, Sherry, doing a lot of the show.
I love Cherie.
I know.
I miss her so much.
Yeah, and so she lost her battle at the same time that you were winning your battle, if I'm not mistaken, right? The timing was kind of
Yeah.
together, and I know she was very close to you. I know you did a lot of shows with her.
Yeah.
She was around a lot. So at the same time that and I don't know if you knew that kind of was around the same time, Trinity, but at the same
I
time
did.
that he's going through and staying positive with what he was doing, there were people around him that weren't doing so good.
Mm-mm.
And she was very close to you, Brett. So I
Yeah,
just
she
wanted
was
to
one of my best friends,
Mhm.
and she was the host of my show, and on Up Live, which is the Up Live radio broadcast that we did, and she didn't know anything until about 90 days before she passed.
Wow.
She didn't have any indication. She was Miss Joyful. She was Miss Happy. She was most another positive individual
Right,
that we were graced with having.
right, right.
And she was, God got another angel.
Yeah,
He did, because she was so amazing,
right.
absolutely. And I don't say that a lot about too many people, but she was just a beautiful soul. And for that to happen to that individual was just,
hmm
it's, I don't know.
Which is more evidence of why, Trinity, when Brett, you say, thankfully the accident that I had, regardless of the 7 broken ribs, and I saw the tree, by the way. Brett showed me the tree. All
Oh
Hmm.
right.
wow.
So
I call it the Brett Hall. It's still
exactly.
there. It's
Yeah.
still there. They
So
never even replaced it with another palm tree.
no, no.
Wow.
So regardless of that, that led to the testing that resulted into him finding out about the cancer
Yep.
early enough to be able to do something about it. Whereas Cherie, on the other hand, found out very late in the game because
Right.
she didn't have an accident. There was no reason to go to the doctor and
Nope.
find that out. And unfortunately, there's a lot of individuals like that don't know anything until unfortunately it's too late. So
Right.
I do love the positive message, Trinity, and I thought this was a great idea of you bringing Brett, who's somebody very close to both of us. in so many ways, to be able to share your story and show us the positivity. Because in a time like this, we need more positivity, and we need to know how that positive thinking and that standing up, even when you're fighting something horrible, or going through some sort of sickness or ailment, that you stand up and be like, well, I can beat this. I'm going to beat this, and stay positive, because our attitude and our personality have a lot to do with our healing. If you sit there and act sick and feel sorry for yourself and get all negative,
go down.
You're just going to decomp and go down. Exactly. And so, the people that are around us, Trinity, that are surviving things like cancer, like what Brett has survived, if you could put them all together in one room, these are the three, and it's three, Trinity, not just another one. Remember, what do you call it? It's actually another female, and I'm not going to mention her name here, but she's also constantly surviving cancer, constantly beating it. The two females that we know very closely, constantly beating cancer every time it comes back. But dang, our entire relationship of knowing these two females, they're always back out of remission and then beating it down again and winning again. And so,
and they're both like ridiculously positive, by the way.
They're both, and that's the point. That's what I wanted to talk about. All three carry one characteristic, and that's you're always positive in the public eye.
I would just like to say this to all, let's just say to the men. I want to say just to the men that are listening out there on the nowmattersmore.org organization, go get checked.
He's the hype man.
He's the hype man.
If you're over 50 years old, go get a checkup.
Yeah, don't you have some statistics?
Wait a minute, you talking to me?
I think he is talking to you.
Oh yeah, are you ready for this? Here's a statistic for you. 89% of all men in their life will have some form of prostate cancer.
All right.
So, what does that tell you? That means no matter where you are, if you're over 50 years old, go get a checkup. Because if you don't get a checkup, you're going to have some problems. So,
and let me address the pink elephant in the room, right? Like, and let's talk about this for a second, right? Let's shift gears a little bit and talk about the realities of it. It is important to get checked, man. I know that we as men, oftentimes, we get, especially the people in our circle, a lot of us are helpers. So we spend a lot of our time helping other people, being there for them. A lot of us shoulder the burden of being the strength in our house, right? The go-to person, the leader of the house. And we spend an awful lot of time kind of just putting our own wants, our own needs, our own desires kind of on the shelf to be there for everybody else. And we choose not to go to the doctor for ourselves, or we avoid it, or we run from it. Then on top of that, you add in what we perceive the very demasculating process to test for this. And a lot of us don't like it. We look at that. There's a lot of jokes. I've said them all myself and everything else. We even had a whole show one time where I talked about my first introduction to that, and I'll even share it here. I don't care. Like, I'm a grown man, and I'm much bigger than most people, and if anybody wants to fight, I'd be more than happy to handle it. But I had it happen to me as well, right? Like, you could be macho and still go through this. And I had some issues with hormonal things and whatnot that were just all kind of compounding to this massive problem, and I had to go get checked out. And one of the medications that I was going to be on meant that I had to take a particular test before I could take this medication. I had no clue. I show up to my urologist. We're talking. He tells me to drop my pants. And I'm thinking we're going to do a normal physical or whatever. I'm used to the turn your head and cough thing. He told me to bend over and grab a hold. I was like, hold up, what? Like, I had no clue it was coming, and it's probably a good idea that I didn't know, because had I known, I probably would have skipped that appointment. But it was over. It was fast, and you know what I know now is I don't have prostate cancer. And it was a second. He didn't care. I probably was more freaked out about it than he was. It took all of 2 seconds. It was done and fast. But the peace of mind that it gave me walking out of that office knowing that I didn't have prostate cancer was worth whatever bit of humility that I was worried about. And so I will tell everybody here, I agree with Brett. Guys, go get tested, dude. Like, stop. Stop letting the fear of the unknown or the demasculating part of it to keep going, because there's nothing masculine about having cancer.
Yeah, and the bottom line is, and here's the final analysis, the actual procedure to find out if you do have cancer, it's not a lot of pain. It's just like strange. It's strange, but it doesn't hurt. But you know what? It's important because it's going to do one thing. It's going to save your life.
That was just the oddest way to describe that, Brett.
Well,
I thought you were gonna say. No, wait a minute. I thought you were gonna say something like the discomfort that you feel the testing is nothing
weird.
compared to the discomfort you're gonna feel if you don't get tested and you have a problem. But instead, you're like, it wasn't that bad. I kind of enjoyed it. Kind of like
Well, the crazy thing is this. I will say one thing. When I went in to have the procedure, it wasn't my regular doctor. It was this beautiful urologist.
Yeah, I had that.
Oh, great. Can't you give me somebody that's fat and ugly?
I want little hands. I want little hands. I want baby hands.
I gotta have this beautiful redhead walk in that looks like she just got off a pageant line.
Yeah, I had that when I got my two hernias and my umbilical hernia. I had all three hernias at the same time, and it was like what you described, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna do this. I was like grateful that was it, because I thought it was gonna be like my doctor. My doctor, Trinity, you say little hands. I wish, man. My physician is like a 6'6" basketball player, dude.
Yeah, I don't want that person taking my positive.
And when he first got a hold of me, and I say got a hold of me, he was just like, he said it out loud. Yeah, he goes, drop your pants. And I said, well, what are we gonna do? He goes, I'm gonna stick my finger up your butt. I mean, he just said it like that. That's exactly the way he said it. And I was like, I didn't know how to take that conversation. I was like, I don't know how I'm supposed to respond to this.
You got 15 minutes to stop what you're doing.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Yeah. He just said it so matter of fact, But his hands were like, huge. And I was just like, oh my God. So, after I got that tickle out of my throat, no. But you're right, Brett. The important thing out of all this is you gotta go get the tested. You got to, because when you find something before you have symptoms is what you want. That's exactly. Don't wait till you get sick. Don't wait till you start symptomology. Next week I turn 51 years old. So just by process of age alone, there's all kinds of possibilities. But I'm the worst at it, Trinity, to be honest. You know that, man. I'm not the worst of it. I'm just an average guy that just is like, I don't want to go. Yep. I've had neck pain for 2-3 years now that I can't even turn my head right and left most of the day, and still haven't gotten that checked. So many of us are so damn stubborn. So Brett, hopefully through this, it'll inspire me to go get, testing my damn self, because I'm a hypocrite with that. I tell everybody to go get tested, and then I refuse. I don't really want to go, because I don't want.
That's the point, right? And that's why that's one of the things that I hope comes out of this is because I'm just as bad. I'm not that great at it either, and I have someone in my own family who's had a cancer that would be near and dear to my heart. Testicular cancer. I've had someone in my family that's had that, and so I do think that we need to kind of put that aside, right? The two things I want to come from the show is a message of positivity and a message of go out there and take care of yourself medically. As I've said many times, it's been said to me, you can't fill from an empty cup. And so if you're dead or you're fighting for your life from a medical situation, you can't help anybody else. It's all about you at that point. So go early, get it taken care of.
There's also what they call hope. There's things to look forward to. Like now, see, I can look forward to.
I was about to say, what that? Wait, time. I was about to say, is that a Christmas tree in your back?
Yeah.
It's not even Thanksgiving yet, man.
What are you doing with the Christmas tree?
You know that my house is a museum. I have every square inch of this house is Christmas.
I've been in that house. The whole house was Christmas. Wait a minute. Are you telling me that that's year round?
It is now.
Wow.
We had nothing else to do.
Wow.
There's a house in my neighborhood that my wife and I, every time we pass it, it's Christmas. There's been a Christmas tree in the window, like all year. We've been wondering if maybe somebody passed away and is out to war or something for them to come back. Damn, Brett, look at you. Look at all that.
Hold on. This is just. I'll give you a little showtime.
I've been to your house. I know there's a lot of Christmas. I swear Santa's elves were gonna pop out somewhere.
Yeah, this is.
That's funny.
This is amazing. Hold on, just give me 1 second. You guys will enjoy this.
For our listeners who are listening on podcasts right now, Brett is showing us the house that he has. It's all Christmas stuff everywhere.
See, that's positive, man. See, he's just a happy elf, man. That's what it is.
That's
Just a
right.
See, how
happy elf.
can you not happy when every square inch is Christmas?
Maybe that's the secret, Trinity. Maybe we just need to Christmas up our houses. Man.
That's right.
Look at
My
that.
wife would love that.
Village,
um,
villages
Then again, where
everywhere.
else would you
Look at
put
that.
all that stuff, man?
Yeah,
If you
right.
didn't have it out.
I
That's a lot.
Amazing.
I do think that like I said, there was a story, like an old Taoist story that I was reminded of when we were talking about the car accident and things of that nature that I think summarizes
Right.
this up very, very well. I think I've said it previously on other shows, but I'll say it again now. So there's an old Taoist like story about a farmer out there in middle of nowhere. He's a farmer. He has horses, things of that nature. He's out farming one day, and his horse takes off and runs away. His neighbor, who's also a farmer, comes by to see how he's doing, finds out his horse ran away. He was like, "Oh man, that really sucks. I can't believe you lost your horse. How are you going to plow your field? How are you going to work? How are you going to do all these things? That's such a horrible thing." And then the farmer just responded with, "Maybe." The next day, the horse comes back. But when the horse comes back, it comes back with another horse. And then the farmer's buddy, the neighbor, comes over and is like, "Oh man, that's so awesome. I can't believe your horse came back and he brought another one. That's fantastic. That's such good luck. I can't believe how awesome that is that now you have two horses. You can do twice the amount of work." And his response was, "Maybe." Next day, his son decides to go out there and try to break in this new horse, ends up falling off and breaking his leg. Farmer's friend comes by and was like, "Oh my gosh, that's such horrible luck. I can't believe that your son broke his leg. That sucks. This horse thought it was such a good thing. He broke his leg. Now he can't do things. It's so horrible. I'm so sorry for you." The farmer just says, "Maybe." The following day, the government comes by trying to bring people into to draft him for a war, but they don't take his son because his son has got a broken leg. And the farmer's like, "Man, that's such great luck. I can't believe it. How lucky is that he doesn't have to go?" And his response was just maybe. And the reason why I like that story so much is because it does show. It's just all about perspective. Everything that happens in our lives, man, it's not positive or negative. Think about it. The only things that you look at that you claim are negative are things that don't fit within what your expectations already were. And the things that you call positive are things that do fit into those expectations. When I used to teach groups and stuff in person, when I would talk to people, I would always ask them when we start talking about this kind of positive, negative thing and putting labels on stuff, I would always ask them, "Do you think getting a flat tire is a negative thing?" And universally, they would all say, "Yeah, getting a flat tire is a horrible thing. It's negative." So they were coming from the perspective that getting a flat tire is just universally negative for everybody. I said, however, what about the guy who makes his money fixing flat tires? That's a pretty positive to that person. And so I say that just to get people to start to kind of reimagine how they focus on what's positive and what's negative in their lives. You get into a car accident, breaking your ribs, to most people would sound like a horrible negative thing. But it led to you finding, and getting an early detection on a life-threatening ailment that saved your life, and you're literally here today to tell that story. Right now, somebody somewhere is going through something that they think is such a negative, horrible thing. They're down in the dumps. They're thinking, maybe even with the political stuff, right? There's people out there who think if Trump wins, it's going to be the worst thing on the planet, and it's going to destroy this country. There's people out there who think if Trump loses, the same thing. There's people out there looking at the racial issues, and it's all about perspective and how you look at it and how you respond to it. No matter
Maybe.
what it is, it's how you respond to it. It's how you look at it. And I think, Brett, you're a living proof, man, that positivity isn't such a bad thing, man. And like you said, Louis, the three people that we're talking about, the two that you mentioned, that aren't here currently, and him, you're right. The one thing that all three of them have in common is they're always so positive and upbeat. And yet they have a litany of reasons to be upset and depressed about, more so than many people, and yet they still choose not to be. And I don't think that's a coincidence. I think those things are related.
Right.
Well, I think you're 100% right, and your perspective is absolutely perfect to the situation that we're talking about and discussing today. And it's how you feel internally, and it's what you put out and what you get out of it. But I'm very excited that I had an opportunity to share this with all of your viewers. And I'm also excited to be a part of what you're talking about with the Hope-a-thon. And speaking of Hope-a-thon,
There we go.
Guess what I found on the computer?
That's the hype man right there, dude. Come on, he is the eternal hype man. There is no better. Yeah, there is no better. Well, as we're wrapping up, man, let me give you
Oh, okay.
Hey, can I
Brett,
say something real quick?
Well, I'm gonna give you a few minutes, man. Here's your wrap up. I'll talk about whatever you want. It's all you. I don't even know what that. Oh, is that that's the video we shot?
Yeah. Do you want to hear the voiceover?
Sure, you can play it. Go ahead.
Yeah.
All right, hold on. Everybody stand by. Here we go.
Uh-oh. Did we lose him? Oh, there we go.
No.
Everybody, I'm Brett Schulman from It's Brett TV here again, and this time I'm talking about why we're here. You know, without your support to these great charities, we can't do what they do. You can help in two different ways. Firstly, go to nowmattersmore.org or hopeathon.com and click on that donate button and give directly your money. The second way is you can text Now Matters to 31996. That's text Now Matters to 31996 and sign up to take those surveys online. That results in tons of donations to these great charities. Thank you again for your support, and thank you for watching the rest of the show.
That's awesome.
Okay, hold on. That was actually the second one. I'm going to show you the first one. Hey, we gotta pump this bad boy up. Come on now.
By the way, people, if you're watching this, do not text that yet. That
not yet.
Yeah, don't text it yet.
November 9th. What he's showing you is something that we're going to be playing.
Yes.
Go ahead.
All right, hold on a second.
That's funny, man. I love that.
Welcome to the main event. I'm Brett Schulman from It's Brett TV, and I'm excited to welcome you to the very first Hope-a-thon presented by the Orange County and Now Matters More Foundation. Get ready for 24 hours of hope with your host and founder of the Now Matters More Foundation, the one and only street certified dope doctor, Mr. Louis Delgado.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
I love it.
All right, man. So, what's you got any party messages you want everybody to listen to? Something you want to say to everybody? This is your moment, man. What do you want people to know?
I want to say this. Go get a physical if you're over 50 years old. You know what? You got one life, you got one body, you got one soul. Make sure that you take care of yourself. Be positive. You know, do it for your family, do it for yourself. You know, get involved and taking part of being healthy. And that's what it's all about. And I appreciate everybody listening. And I love Louis and I love Trinity. And I thank the NowMattersMore.org organization. And I'm just so happy and so thankful to be here.
Right on, Louis.
Yeah, I just want to say this was good to hear today, Trinity. I mean, it's weird because as much as we don't want to take this political and want to make this political, I mean, earlier today I was just frustrated because I see our president of the United States, regardless of what side you're on, just so you know, I'm a no party affiliation. However, when our president, the leader of the free world, comes out and he's doing, better, like he's not looking sick, he's not sounding sick. You can see it in him, but he's not, and he comes out with a positive message. He's standing up tall. He's saying, I can fight this. He's saying, don't be afraid. He's saying all the things that we have people that fight through cancer, that fight through ailments. He's saying all the things that we want to feel like when we're suffering something grave, man. And I was getting real disappointed because I see so many people trash the dude because they trash him no matter what. You know what I mean? It's been like that for the last 4 years, man. We've seen people being negative, and thinking the whole time that, wow, man, we as a people need to stay more positive. Just stop it. Just be more positive. We like talking about that on the show. And then here we see an individual that we love a lot, and he comes out and he says, well, that's what he did. He stayed positive. He stood tall. He stayed strong through the whole thing. And it reminds me of all the other individuals that we know that have fought cancer, that continue to fight cancer, that fight all kinds of ailments, that fight through all kinds of situations. And even like when we talk about our friends that we meet and talk about on the couch live that fight through addiction and recovery and stuff like that. It's positivity and strength and attitude that we all should back up and admire, regardless of the personality. Maybe principles before personalities. Look at the individual and give them support and give them love and give them compassion, because that's what true good people do. They give love and compassion and support that kind of strength and that kind of attitude, regardless of how you feel about the individuals, but regardless of your political affiliation. This is exactly what I needed today. I love the positivity. Thank you very much, Trinity. And, of course, thank you, TV.
Of course.
The one, the only, Brett TV.
Exactly. I would say, first and foremost, thank you everybody for tuning in today. Stick around afterwards if you want. We'll be on here for a few minutes, kind of just talking after the show. Brett, you're more than welcome to hang out. If you got something to do, you can leave. And of course, anybody who's watching this on YouTube, feel free to subscribe. It's youtube.com/Dharma Time. Hit that like button, subscribe. It actually does help. If you want to follow us on social media, he is at The Dope Doctor. I am at The Dharma Guy. We are at WPSN99 or at Now Matters More. It does help. Without people listening to us, we can't get the messages out. So, sticking to today's topic, first and foremost, thank you again, Brett, for coming on. I can't think of a better steward for positivity than you. And I think we touched on a very important topic today. I really do. And this is something I had to learn in my own life. Going through life, I had a lot of things happen to me when I was a little kid that I kind of had a chip on my shoulder, and I was walking around angry and pissed off at the world. And anger begets anger. All I did was create. I never missed an opportunity to find something to be angry about. When that was my approach, I never ran out of stuff. But now in my life, where I've switched my approach to come from a place of compassion, I never miss an opportunity to show compassion. And sometimes it's easier than others. Same thing with positivity, right? Positivity, you'll never miss an opportunity to find something or a situation that could call for positivity. It's just kind of your outlook and your way of looking at things. I try to avoid labels of positive and negative only because, once again, what we declare as positive and negative isn't really inherently anything. It's just, does it fit within what our expectations were or does it not? And I think that what you'll notice in life is if you continue to approach life looking for negative situations or looking for reasons why this didn't line up to what you expected and why that is not a good thing for you, you're never going to run out of opportunities, but you're also it's going to feel pretty miserable every day. And you're going to be reminded every day on how right you were and how much everything around you sucks. And it's going to keep sucking. But there is another way. You don't have to do it that way. It's totally your option, and you can do that. But another option is just to choose to look at things for what they are. It just either lined up or it didn't line up. Whatever it is, it's impermanent. It's going to pass. The good things are going to end at some point, but so are the bad. And you'll notice that if you approach life in a much more positive perspective, trying to just accept things for what they are, not what you want them to be, you'll notice that life just starts to just feel a little bit easier. People around you kind of look at you differently. Your interactions start to change. What you get from life starts to change, and it's a completely different perspective that you might find a little bit more enjoyable. The last thing I want to say before we sign off and go to our after show is I'm going to echo what Brett said. And I too, just like the Dope Doctor said, I too got to take my medicine as well, and that is go get tested. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're male or female, because we all have ailments that we need to get checked for. So whoever is listening to this, by all means, take a few minutes out to look after yourself. If there's something that's bothering you, if there's an ailment, something that's taking place, go see the doctor, go to a clinic, do what you got to do. Men, please go get your prostate checked. It kills so many people, and it doesn't have to. It really doesn't have to. If we would just learn how to kind of put our egos to the side just a little bit and go get it done, you might notice it saves your life. So I think that's what I got for now, for today. Please, by all means, if you got something from this, feel free to share it. But in the meantime, now that you know better, do better. Peace. Are you still here? What are you doing? I told you, go do better.